Hi everyone. Well, several had asked me how I made this thank you card. Now, I had made this card probably about a year ago when I first started doing YouTube, but I never did a tutorial on this particular one. The reason why I still have it is because the girl actually moved and my mom's trying to still get her address. So I'm ashamed to say I still have this thank you card. But my friend Stephanie had asked me to do a video tutorial on it, and I promised her that I would get that up before I put up any other videos. So this is a very, very simple card to make, and it's made with just one sheet of 12 by 12. And how it works is it just flips open, and you can see how it's very simply a sheet of 12 by 12 that has just had 4 squares cut out of it. Now I use double-sided cardstock, so when I cut those squares out, I flip them over and I use them as mats for the photos on the inside of the card. And then I just had some rub-ons that were part of this same paper line. This is from We Are Memory Keepers, and so it matched. So then you can just make it to where you can fold it. You put pictures on every single side that you have, and then close it shut, and it will stand up for you. So I'll just demonstrate how to make this one really quickly. The first thing you do is just get your double-sided sheet of cardstock. So this one is from the Wild Saffron line from K & Company. I've just had this piece laying here forever. So what you can do is any pieces of paper that you have left over from your scrapbook projects, use them to make cards. So every 4 inches I'm going to make a score line. So I'm going to make a score line at the 4 and a score line at the 8. Then I turn my page 90 degrees and do the same thing. Score line at the 4, score line at the 8. So I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but now I have 9 squares that are scored on this piece of paper. I'm just bending it just so you can hopefully see it a little more clearly. So then what I do is I kind of gauge what is going to be my outside cover versus my inside. This is going to be the inside, and I want this flap to come over and be the top. So the top portion you always want to make sure is going to be your largest, so I'm going to cut right on this line. And that's going to be the top flap of my card. Okay, so that's my top flap, and I have these 2 flaps right here, and those can come off. I'm going to cut under the line on this one because I want my other flaps to be slightly smaller than the top flap. And you want to do that just so your card will fold nicely. So you'll see I had cut right underneath this line instead of on or above it. And save that because you're going to use that as a photo mat. Same thing for this one. Again, cut under the line. And save that. So now I'm going to work on my bottom 2 flaps. And again, it's going to fold up. And I'm going to get rid of these. So on these, since this is my bottom and I don't want it to show over my top, I'm again going to cut on the inside of the line so that my bottom flap is smaller than my top flap. Again, I'm going to cut on the inside line. Okay, so when I fold it, you'll see it's nicely covered. You can't see it. So I need to get rid of these 2 squares. So I'm going to cut above this line here. See, by cutting above that line, when I fold it in, it fits perfectly even when I fold up my other flap and I fold down my top flap. So I'm going to do the same thing for this one. I'm going to cut above the score line. So I cut above that line. So again, when I fold, fold, and fold, everything fits underneath the top flap. So just to reiterate, again, it's a 12 by 12, and it had 4 squares like that. And so I just cut out all 4 of these squares, and I just tried to be careful about where I cut them so that when I fold over my top flap, it actually covers the whole project. Now, another thing that I like to do is round my corners, and there's all kinds of corner rounders out there. I just happened to get the one by We Are Memory Keepers, and I like to use the 1/2 inch. And you can get just a regular punch. They have some small punch ones real cheap at the craft store as well. And so I just go around to all my corners and round the corners on every single one. Okay, so this is the inside of my card, and this is the top. Now remember, we cut out those mats, and again, you can write a note here if you want, or put a picture right in the center, it doesn't matter. Now remember, we cut off those 4 squares. These are going to be our inside mats. So you don't want it to be the whole size necessarily, although you can, or you can just fill the whole flap with a photo. Since these are 4-inch squares, a 4 by 6 photo will cover this completely, and you can just cut off your additional 2 inches. But what I'm going to do is trim this down slightly. I think I'm going to take 1 inch off on both sides. Maybe 1/2 inch. Let's start with 1/2 inch. I always start smaller and then work my way bigger if I need to. So let me trim at 1/2 inch. And trim off 1/2 inch this way. And let's see how that looks. Yeah, that's a good fit. Okay, so then I'll do the same thing with my mat. Again, I'll take my corner rounder using the same size, 1/2 inch. I go around all the edges, and I put my mat down here. Now you'll notice inside of my previous card what I did is when I glued my mats down, I didn't necessarily glue them all the way down. I left like a little gap behind them so that I could stick tags in there, and so I made some little custom tags to stick back there. So it's up to you how you want to make your card, but I think this in essence gives you the very simplified version on how you can get it down there. And I don't know where my runner adhesive is. My daughter probably took off with it at the moment, so I'll just use my liquid glue for now. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and ink onto my little sentiment here, and I think I'm going to use my dark brown StazOn. Hopefully it hasn't dried out on me. It's been a while since I used it. Just ink up my stamp. And there it is. Thanks for making my day. So I made the little sentiment on there. These aren't really the clearest sentiment stamps. One thing I've determined since making this card in particular is I definitely need to get more sentiment stamps. So I'm on the market, so let me know where you get yours and which ones you like. I'm thinking about getting some from, I think it's Robin the Pink Stamper. She does a lot of Cricut cards and things like that. She has some really cute sentiment stamps. Okay. Alright. So I'll go ahead and stick my embellishment down. And I use my Xyron sometimes. The easiest way to do this is really with some Scotch tape, and again, I think I'm out of Scotch tape because I think my daughter took it. Let me go try to find some tape. Okay, so I found some really tacky packaging tape, but it's not going to show anyway. At least that's what I'm going to tell myself. So we're going to put this on this side here. Of course, you would use something a lot nicer than this, but for demonstration purposes, this is all I can find at the moment. Okay. There's my ribbon. And then the thanks for making my day. I think I'll layer it right here. And that I think I'm going to put on with a couple of pop dots. Okay, now what happened to my pop dots? Okay, found some pop dots. Not the ones I was looking for, but these should work just as well. Okay, so I'm not that crazy about my stamping on this one. I may have to change that out. But the concept was to show how to make the card itself. And then of course this last one goes right in here like so. And it will cover up your ribbon, and you can open up all your flaps and layer your pictures and put in your tags. So Stephanie, I hope this helped you out. And everyone else also, thank you for watching the video, and hope you have fun making little cards like this. Thanks for watching.